Here. Have you seen my Molly? She's most special to me. She's just a little rag doll. Sir, have you seen my Molly? And have you seen my Molly? She's just a little rag doll. She might not look that special, but she is to me. My sisters and brother are asleep upstairs. Mama and Papa and Nanny must be asleep in their room too. I hope I don't wake them. Mama said we were having house guests this evening, but I guess I was so worried looking for Molly that I just forgot. Please forgive my manners. My name is Lucretia, but everyone calls me Lula. Molly's my most special doll. I just have to find her. I've had her for as long as I can remember. Ever since we lived at the old house. I don't remember much about the old house, but I remember Molly. She's always been there for me. One time, my brother, Wilmer, he took Molly from me and wouldn't give her back. There was another time that I was laid up in my bed with a bad fever for days. Molly was with me the whole time. She's a good nurse. I remember. Papa said we hadn't been around these many soldiers since we lived at Manassas, at our old house. He said that I don't remember it, that there was a big battle there between the armies. And then we moved here, to Appomattox. We've lived here for about 2 years or so now. I like our house. It's pretty and fancy. I like my room, mine and Ossie's and Maria's. Mama and Papa and Nanny, my little sister, she's only 2. They still share a room. And Wilmer gets a room all to himself. There was another time when I lost Molly. I've looked and looked for what seemed like forever, and I still couldn't find her. And then my sister, Ossie, she found her out by the well house. I have no idea how she ended up there. She was so wet and covered with dew when they brought her in that we had to set her by the fire to dry. I was so afraid she'd catch a chill, so I nursed her back to health. I remember, we heard the armies fighting. We knew they were there because we heard them over by the train station. And then the next morning, it was even worse. I was playing with Molly in the parlor when it started. Mama came and got us and told us all to go downstairs to the inside kitchen. As we were walking by, I peeked out the window. I saw soldiers in our yard, in the field, and in the orchard, and soldiers on horses, and soldiers off horses, and soldiers running, and soldiers falling. And the noise, it made the whole house shake. It was horrible. I put my hands over my ears. Ossie put her arms around me. I wanted Molly, but she wasn't there. I started to cry, and then it stopped. The noise, the guns, it stopped. soldiers were coming. He said that we should go upstairs until it was all over. As we were walking upstairs, I peeked into the parlor. I saw General Lee sitting behind our big marble table. He looked like he might be asleep. I guess with all this ruckus going on, he'd be even more tired than the rest of us. As soon as we were at the top of the stairs, a large group of Northern soldiers walked through the doors. I saw the soldier that must have been General Grant. All the other soldiers sort of followed him into the parlor. They talked for a long time. Then after they talked, some other soldiers started talking. Even though the generals talked nice enough for each other the whole time, all I could think about was how worried Molly must be in a room full of all those soldiers. It seemed like forever until Mom said I could go downstairs. After General Lee left, General Grant stayed. And even after General Grant left, other soldiers stayed. It seemed like forever until Mama said I could go downstairs to look for Molly. As soon as she could, I rushed down the stairs into the parlor. The parlor looked different. It was almost empty. Almost all the furniture was gone. And I couldn't find Molly. I knew she was there. I remember having her. I looked. Then
Lola! Lola, is that you?
That's my sister Ossie. I better be getting back upstairs. If you see Molly, please let me know.
Time is valuable. I see all these youngins here. Are y'all friends of Lula's? Did you just go see Lula? She told you about her doll, didn't she? Yes, she did. Yeah. Well, folks, I'm sorry to be kind of gruff with you. That's not my nature, but I am expecting a visit from a newspaper reporter of the Richmond Inquirer. He and I have been in telegraphic communication, and truth be told, I'm supposed to sell him the story of this place from back in April for an exclusive. And, well, I was hoping he'd be among the party that just came out. None of you are Mr. Albertson, are you? No? No one here works for the papers in Richmond? Well, I expect him by the 7 o'clock hour. Perhaps he's delayed. For those of you who don't know me, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't, my name is Wilmer McLean. I am the owner of this house. You've already met my daughter inside. I can safely say that I am the only person that I know of, and probably the only one that you all know of, who can call themselves the Alpha and the Omega of this great conflagration that just rent this continent in half for the last 4 years. Some of you are looking at me rather cow-eyed and probably thinking to yourself, well, how is it that he makes that claim? And I'll tell you how it is I make that claim. And I know it's a bold statement, but every bit of it is true. And if it's not, well, I hope Zeus strikes me down right here where I stand. For I will tell you this. Every jot and tittle of what I'm about to tell you is the exact truth. Now, I can't give away the whole game because I've promised that to the papers in Richmond, but I will give you a little taste of the story. In 1861, my wife and family and I lived at a farm up in the northern part of this state, out near a place called Manassas Junction, a place called Yorkshire. And in the summer of that year, we were approached by the Confederate authorities who were in need of a place to have headquarters and supplies and a hospital and a signal station. And so, being the stalwart supporters of the Confederacy that we are, and for a nominal fee, we invited the Confederates to use our property there. Well, this did not go unnoticed by the Union artillery. And it was not long before Union artillery shells came crashing over top of our house. And one particular shell actually fell through the chimney behind the house up there at Yorkshire and exploded in the kitchen. Well, no one was killed, thank God, behind that, but General Beauregard and his staff were happening to have their afternoon meal in the kitchen at that time. Now, I'm not calling General Beauregard, nor none of his staff chickens, but they sure ran out of that place like chickens out of a hen house, I'll tell you that. It was not long after that that we removed ourselves from the northern part of the state. It became just too difficult to live up that way. I traveled for a living, taking care of business deeper in the south. I wanted a safe place for my family, especially my girls. Too many soldiers about, too much drunkenness, too much license. So in 1863, in the fall of that year, we found ourselves here. Now this building here is called, by the locals who live here, the Rain Tavern. And it was a guest house of sorts, some sort of hotel back here about 10 years ago. But we moved in there in the fall of 1863, and it has been our home ever since. It was our fondest hope when we came here that we would never see a soldier again in our lives. Well, those hopes were dashed just this past April. On the 8th of April, Robert E. Lee's army arrived here. And they arrived here not to surrender, but to obtain supplies that were up at the rail station 3 miles from here. And it was General Grant's job to make sure that they were denied those supplies. And having captured the station, General Grant's troops actually blocked this road just up here at the top of the hill. And on the morning of April 9th, General Lee's forces tried to break through it. And a savage battle ensued right up there at the top of the hill. And for 3 hours, my wife, myself, and our children sequestered ourselves in the lower reaches of this house, hearing shot and shell screech over top of our house again. It was just like Yorkshire in 1861, all over again. After 3 hours, though, there was a lull in the fighting, and I came out here to survey the damage. And as I removed myself to the road here, I was approached by a young Confederate lieutenant colonel named Charles Marshall. And he identified himself as being on Lee's staff and told me that General Lee was desirous of having a place to meet with General Grant. Well, being the stalwart supporters of the Confederacy that we were, and unable to find another place, I, of course, offered Colonel Marshall the use of the parlor here. Lee and Grant met there for approximately 90 minutes. And when it was all over, they left. And do you know what we got for our trouble? I'll tell you what we got. We got robbed is what we got. Every Union soldier who was left here after Lee and Grant left the premises took every bit of food or every bit of furniture that they could carry out of that room. Said they wanted souvenirs, keepsakes, mementos. Took it all. And I know some of them left money on the windowsill or threw it in the floor, and some walked by me and stuffed it in my pocket. But without my consent, that's still thievery. Several days later, on the 12th of April, the rest of Lee's army marched right into this town and right along this road here and down to the Pierce house on the other side of the courthouse. They laid down their weapons. So even the very roadstead we're standing in is steeped in history. And I alone, was witness to all of it. Now, today, there's no money here and no prospect for making any money, except for a wise man might make a few dollars. And with that in mind, I'll tell you this. I have a bargain for you. I have in my hand parole passes. Now these were printed up over there at Clover Hill Tavern, and they were printed for Confederate soldiers. The Union Army printed up 30,000 of them, but they only used 28,000, which left a few thousand for me to sweep up and come take care of. I will sell each and every one of you as many of these as you like for the small sum of 2 Yankee dollars apiece. If you don't think that's enough of a bargain, On the reverse side, I have inscribed a small keepsake for your visit here and my signature. And I give you that gratis. Now, don't be concerned. You don't have to limit yourself to just one of these. I'll sell you the whole lot of them if you like. And keep in mind, with the holidays coming, they make a nice gift or a keepsake to a friend. If you're not interested in these, I had a printer in Lynchburg make up carte de visite. And these I will let go at the rock bottom price of $5 a piece, $10 with my signature. Don't everybody come up at once. Please walk around the village, take care of the things you need to take care of. But by the end of the evening, if you're still interested, I'll still be here. And what could be better than having a memento from the Alpha and the Omega?
Meeks. My family own this general store right here behind you. That is the Meeks store. Now, you gentlemen, y'all need yourself a new good hat or a good breast watch, or y'all ladies need some of the finest fashions from Paris, France, or even any of your local gossip. You come here to our store if you need it, all right? Well, you know, we had a pretty good business here in town. Folks all through the county would come here to our store, getting all things what they need. And I tell you, we's mighty proud.